Welcome, everybody. Welcome to once again, where we are talking about Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time. Today, it is our favorite episodes of Once Upon a Time. I have here my trusty friend, Weaver's Grace. She is here. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Yes, she has been doing polls for everyone to participate in Twitter. They've been loads of fun having us revisit a lot of our Once Upon a Time episodes. And not this one, but the ones later you're going to see. We got permission from our Sam, who was a staff member of Once Upon a Fan, to use her edits. So we'll go ahead and,
to use her edits. So,
oh wait,
I gotta get the echo.
I was gonna say I'm hearing myself. I thought it was me.
checking YouTube. I invited some of my library friends to join YouTube. So we'll see if they comment anything.
Right here, I'm putting in our Once Upon a Fan Twitter because a lot of stuff is still on there. A lot of really hard work.
That's why I was glad. Yeah, because on my computer I couldn't find the top 20 episodes from 2015, and I'm like, I know that I saved all that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we had an unfortunate situation that our website, as it was, is not accessible. I'll just put it to you that way. So that's where a lot of these things are present. But I am gonna be working on a new website working with the archives of all former Once Upon a Fan staff, of course, with their permission, to get it so that people can see it. Because over those years, we did a lot of work, a lot of writing, staying up to date with all of this. It was insane. But
my first published stories on there.
That's true. It is. Yeah. So yeah. Actually, stay tuned, kids. Stay tuned. I'm going to be starting to do it, and if I put out something saying, "Hey, if you want something, or if you have an item from Once Upon a Fan that you did that maybe we lost, or just let us know." Okay, so we're going to go right into our favorite episodes of Once Upon a Time. Tamara started, or Weaver's Grace. Whoops. Well, you go. Never mind. I think I'll call you Weaver's Grace, right?
That's fine. You can call me Tamara. I don't care. Whatever
Tamara.
you prefer to.
Because I think you do use your first name on online. You do.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not going to advertise your name, address, and all the names of your pets. So let's go with the first four. We had the pilot. We had The Thing You Love Most. We had Snow Falls and The Price of Gold, the first four. Now, which one ended up winning, Tamara? I don't recall.
Price of Gold.
The Price of Gold one. Interesting.
Well, most of my people that follow me on Twitter are Rumpelstiltskin fans.
And it was a great one.
It was. But it won that one. Let me see. I can pull it up and let you know. I think the pilot was second, which the pilot I absolutely love.
Yeah. And actually, if you can bring it up, if it says share screen, it might be easier for you to do it, and then I can put it up. Yeah. So if you go ahead and share screen with what you have. Yeah, and I can see how The Price of Gold. I mean, it was a great episode. I loved it because it had the Cinderella, a lot of the traditional stuff from the Cinderella story. It had the whole twist with Rumpelstiltskin being the fairy godmother because he murdered. He murdered the fairy godmother.
And we never found out what that fairy godmother had done.
Yeah, I think that there was something behind that because we did learn that fairy godmother was the fairy godmother associated with Charming's family, his adopted father.
Yeah.
So I somehow think that they intended something to go on with that.
Yeah. I gotta start. When did I start these polls? Oh my.
Yeah, I think it was around.
Yeah. I'm on my computer, and the pictures are on my laptop, so I don't know how that's gonna go. They're saved on my phone.
Yeah, I'm putting this out here.
Can I? Let's see.
So you share screen, and then I bring it up. Yes.
Yeah. So it's gonna take me a while to go through my notifications. So, but I do
No
know
problem.
that Price of Gold won.
Yeah, the Price of Gold one. It was a great Rumpelstiltskin episode, but it was also had some really great charming parts. I loved the
Yes.
part. Gosh, well, charming's great, and how creepy it was when they trapped Rumpelstiltskin.
Yes.
And he was in the cage, and he was just like, "You'll never get him back," or
I
something.
know.
I
He was
will
really
have that.
creepy in that episode.
Yeah, he was evil. It was great. And then the parallel story with
And Emma was great in that one.
oh yes, that's when we had the most famous line from the show, I think from the whole series, when Emma told her people are going to tell you your whole life what you are, what you can do, what you can't do. And she said, and you've got to stand up and fight back and punch back and say, no, this is who I am. A great, great line.
Okay, I got to round
Paraphrase
4.
that there. Hello. While you're doing that, I'm going to say hello to the mod with the most. Hello, Tommy, and hello, R. We're talking about the best episodes of Once Upon a Time based on Tamara's polls. And it is the best ones from seasons 1 and half of season 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and while she's doing it, we're talking about the one that won from here, which was The Price of Gold, the Cinderella episode. Also, it had the moment when we discovered that Regina and the sheriff were lovers. And there was a really, really shocking reveal. They had Regina getting dressed, and the dude was in the shower, and she goes, "Oh, don't forget your socks are under the bed." And then she leaves. So we know she was in bed with somebody. And then at the end of the episode, you see Sheriff Green putting on his socks. And we were like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I know that was. I couldn't get the pictures up, but I just sent it to you in our private chat. What the it was.
Okay. Oh, the winners. Okay, so it came out with Once Upon a Time pilot. Okay, the pilot came at 28.6%. Thing You Love Most 17.9%. Snow Falls 14%, and The Price of Gold 39%. Interesting, because Snow Falls was my favorite out of those 4.
Well, and it's my favorite episode without Robert Carlisle. Probably in my top 20, Robert Carlisle has to be in the episode, except for Snow Falls. So, yeah, that's why I said 3 of these episodes were in my top 20. So I just revealed what I told everybody on my theories on Twitter, that there is one episode in my top 15 without Robert Carlisle. So, and it's Snow Falls. And then they retconned it in season 3.
Yeah, that's why I pretend that didn't happen, because
I do too.
Yeah, Snow Falls is
it was perfect.
It was an amazing episode. It was the equivalent. It was, let me get my thoughts straight. It was what Skin Deep was to Beauty and the Beast. Snow Falls was to Snow White and Prince Charming. It was that good, and it was oddly moving because we see them falling in love through this adventure they go to. But I think because of the music and the earnestness of the fact that Charming at this point is already engaged to someone who he's not in love with. And we also know simultaneously that Snow in Storybrooke is with the comatose Charming and being drawn to him. And then she opens up the book and starts to read their love story.
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh, I get chills just thinking of it.
And you see Regina watching with Dr. Whale.
Exactly.
Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, it is so. Yeah, I mean, and then the music starts. I also like their use of the Charming main theme is so triumphant. So Snow Falls, very, very romantic. And then when Charming escapes, I believe he instinctively goes to where they met on the bridge, and I think he was comatose or something happened. He got that she had to revive him. Yeah,
and they had to go find him, and it was Henry. Of course, Henry's running around,
Mhm.
10-year-old kid running around, and no wonder Regina is upset,
Yeah.
But that was one of my favorite. That one, The Price of Gold, and The Pilot are in my top 20.
Mhm.
So, but as I say, Snow Falls is the one episode that Robert Carlisle does not appear in. Hard to believe that
Yeah.
I do like. I'm really discovering doing this though. How much I loved each and every one of these episodes
Yeah.
for what that episode was.
Y- Yeah. Every all those first season episodes
It was
were
good.
amazing. There was only one really bad episode, but even the bad episode was good compared to
Yes,
what happened
yes,
later.
definitely. Yeah.
And I tell people who want to maybe get into it that maybe they should, if they would have the discipline to watch seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then kind of skip to the end of season 6, the last few
Definitely.
episodes of season 6, like pretend there's a time jump, and it really works. It really does work, where you can not feel that you missed everything.
Well, my head canon is everything goes to going home, and then the whole thing changes when Rumple's in the underworld in the first time. So that's my head canon, because
Mhm.
Neil doesn't die in my head canon.
Oh yes, and of course for me it's Robin Hood. They live forever, and
Yes.
you can watch those episodes and pretend Robin Hood is still alive. It's possible. He's just back cooking dinner or something.
Yeah.
He's taking Roland to school. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit because I do have the quote from Emma, and this is a great quote. This is a life changing quote. I know lots of people that said that this really changed their lives, really inspired them. Everyone loves to tell you what you can and can't do. Oh, whoops, wrong quote. It was so great I got wrong.
Was it the one where you push back?
Yes. I
Okay.
thought I was going to do it. This is her talking about the kid. Now, here's a great quote. People are going to tell, this is it. People are going to tell you who you are your whole life. You just got to punch back and say, no, this is who I am. Yeah.
And that was who Emma was in those first, 2.5 seasons. She was about Henry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she was strong. And then, she says, you want to change things. You're going to have to go out there and change them yourself. It's like, don't sit around and whine, get off your butt. Now, a little bit it was that she was a little cynical here, but that's the Emma that we all fell in love with.
And then Ashley goes and clunks out Mr. Gold in a shop.
Yes. Onto that Robert Carlisle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also the episode where he gets Emma to owe him a favor.
Yes.
And like, you just owe me a favor.
I remember watching that one for the first time. I was watching it with my family, and we were all, "Don't do it, Emma."
Yeah, I watched all these live.
Yeah, I watched it very strangely, and I'm going to tell a little bit of my once story that I was actually going through a little bit of a dark time. There was a situation where somebody died very suddenly at work, and it really messed me up because the whole idea that you could be, it was a really crummy day at work, and he was having a really crummy day. I was having a really crummy day. It's just one of those days where you just like, I just want to go home, and this sucks, and you're just mad, and all that. And it turns out he died instantly of a very bad attack, and it just messed me up because I was thinking that was his last day. His last day on this earth was being in a bad mood, and everyone at work being in a bad mood. You know what I'm saying? It just really moved me in a bad way because it really messed me up. It's like, what's the point of life? All that kind of stuff. It got me into a dark place because I was like, this could be the last day of my life. And as you know, I'm a woman of faith, but it doesn't matter. We're also,
we're only guaranteed today.
And we're susceptible to the same emotions, the same struggles that anyone else is. And my faith helped me through it, but I was just feeling really What's the purpose of life, kind of a thing. And so my mom was like, come on, watch something with me. Come on, I'm going to make you watch something with me. She said, there's a show I'm watching. It's called Once Upon a Time. And I said, oh, yeah, I heard about it or whatever. And she said, well, you should have watched it. She said, it's really good. So I sat down with her, and it was Snow Falls. So I watched them out of order. So I watched Snow Falls. Had no idea what was going on because it was very confusing, but it was so intense. That whole thing, I was like, dang. And so I went back and watched the pilot and then The Thing You Love Most and this. And it suddenly something sparked in me about get off your butt, quit feeling sorry for yourself. Yes, life sucks, but it was just the jolt I needed. And so it kind of helped me bring me out of a very dark depression, if you will. I know it wasn't the TV show, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's just something.
Well, the TV show is the instrument, I think.
Yeah, it was the instrument I believe that the Lord used to jolt me out of it, because art and great fairy tales and great stories, they're sacred. I firmly believe that stories are, in a strange way, they're holy. And it really knocked me back kind of on track. So that's what Once Upon a Time started to mean to me. And I think that that's when they started messing it up and really almost desecrating the stories later. I think that that's why not just me, but a lot of people got very, very upset, because it wasn't like it was just a TV show. It was like, hey, a lot of people really, it helped them. And many people on Once Upon a fan staff, some of them were open with it, talked about how it made one of them, well, Zach would always say, that's what made him get off his butt and go back to college, Emma. So it was a spark for great things like that.
Well, see, that's the same thing with me. I was battling depression, and I hadn't really been a fan of the TV show since Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Uh-huh.
And the movies really soured that for me, because my favorite characters got shafted in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I had fallen into, there just wasn't anything that caught me.
Mm-hmm.
And a coworker of mine saw it advertised and said, I'm going to watch this new show, Once Upon a Time. And I watched the pilot, and I'm like, oh my God, the costumes and everything. And then, because I was suffering from depression, I think I gravitated to Rumpel's character.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just something about Robert Carlisle, the way he played that character, that by skin deep, I didn't want to give up rooting for him. I was like Belle in that episode, The Outsider,
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to keep winning. And that's why I got frustrated in seasons 4 to 6, because of the way they treated Rumpel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and it was out of character too, because Rumpel he did terrible things. Even
they all did,
and they all did, But it was when it started to be out of character, terrible things. And when we get to Hook, I think that's a really good conversation. I loved Hook until they tried to make him into Gary Stu.
Yes,
because he was dark. He had that dark side. And of course he was very good looking. He was a great character. And I think that he lost a lot of his depth. And I can say for a fact that the actor felt the same, because he said so publicly. When I was at Givant, someone asked him, they said, which Hook do you prefer, the Hook now or the Hook the way he was in seasons 1 or seasons 2? Yeah. The bad Hook. And he said he preferred bad Hook because it gave him more to do. He says Hook the way he is now, I'm paraphrasing, as an actor, there's only so much you can do of, I'm a nice guy and I'm in a romance. They were always more honest at Givance. And I think part of it's because they were all in France and everyone was the translator for everyone was in French. So I think they felt like maybe we're not going to be on the radar here.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of honesty at the Paris convention. Okay, so we're going to move on. And we're not going to get through probably up to seasons 2.5. Because there's just so much, because to get there, we have to talk about Skin Deep and all these others. Yeah. But here is a picture. Rumpel is a fairy godmother. We had Emma.
And Ashley.
Oh gosh, yeah. And I also like the realism that in Cinderella was young. And so when she transferred to our time as a pregnant person, it was a teen pregnancy.
Mhm.
Because in these fairy tales, they're very young. Hey, look at this.
Yeah, that's
Gardening in a
I know.
digging a
I
hole in the
know. But
forest.
only Robert Carlisle can pull that off.
Yeah.
And then we found out he was burying his Dark One dagger.
Yes.
I'm like, what in the world? You know, and then that comment about what did I forget to shave when they're looking for the wolf? You know, that one
Exactly.
actually tied with Price of Gold in the next round.
Oh, really? Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. And the thing you love most, I really like that episode. I think when I put it, I might have put it third among. I don't know because it's so hard to rank them because
it
it's such
is.
a
That's what started this poll.
yes, it was such a good Regina episode, just showing that a woman is so obsessed with revenge that she's willing to murder her own father. I mean, wow. And then you find that she still loves him and calls him her son after him, but she murdered him. Very, very
And there was
powerful.
that in the ball scene too. Those costumes were gorgeous.
Mm, yes, and the music, everything about it was amazing. Yeah, here we go. Every story needs a memorable detail. And I like also that they kind of had her hair like she did in the cartoon in that kind of
Mhm.
old fashioned kind of 50s way, but did a little bit of a twist to not date it. So, oh, that episode also had The Thing You Love Most. Episode 2 had the excellent scene where Emma takes the chainsaw to the apple tree.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in the episode too, where she has that scene with Mr. Gold, and he says please, and then you realize that he knows who he is now.
Yes. Yes. And moving along here. Oh my gosh, Sheriff Graham.
I know. I love Sheriff Graham.
Oh, he was R.I.P. R.I.P. Oh, his death. They're kissing in with this Heart of the Lonely Hunter, episode 7, and Regina crushes his heart. I mean, dang.
No.
There we go. And look at the tear that was on her eye. She was jealous. It made me think, was that a tear of anger, jealousy, or did she really care about him?
I don't know. That was a complicated relationship.
Yeah, especially because it was rather non-consensual.
Yeah.
It was the first problematic quote unquote relationship in the series that not only did she essentially rape him, but also murdered him, and she never faced it. And I still suspect that she never faced it because they wanted us all to forget it happened, because if they did acknowledge it, I don't think you could redeem it. I think
Actually, yeah.
I think that they made they made this episode before they thought they were going to redeem Regina.
And that one ended in a tie, which broke my ability to end it like round by round, and I had to like pull the best rated episodes. So I had to have a contingent plan because of the tie. I put both of them back in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, The Price of Gold and Heart of the Lonely Hunter. Yes, and the Still Some Lice. That was a good episode.
I
It's
like
sometimes
that
overlooked.
episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great Jiminy Cricket episode. Great performance by Raphael Barge. I don't know.
Barge, is that
Yeah,
how you pronounce his name?
yeah.
Yeah.
Great moments with Henry where he makes him believe again. Jiminy Cricket.
I liked Archie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And the horror, the absolute horror in the flashback when he realizes that he essentially murdered those people, turned them into puppets. It's pretty messed up. I'm looking here at
That was
this
round
episode.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, kids. This was the first episode that aired after a brief hiatus after Christmas break, and I remember being so excited because, like, we're gonna get Rumpelstiltskin's backstory. This is gonna be badass, and oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't realize that he had a son. This is when we meet Balefire, and we see how Rumpel became the Dark One, and the Dark One was none other than Wormtongue. Brad Dourif gave an
Yes.
amazing
It took
performance.
me a while to realize that.
Yeah,
I knew he looked familiar, and then I was rewatching Lord of the Rings because those were like my absolute favorite movies. They still are my absolute favorite movies. And that took me a while. I said, I've seen this guy before. I've seen this guy before. And I had seen Robert Carlisle in Aragon. And I'm like, so it was kind of funny that my memories of Robert Carlisle is from a fantasy movie. Because I hadn't seen a lot of his other. I had seen him in James Bond, and I had seen him in Aragon, and I think those are the only two places I had seen him in a movie prior to Once Upon a Time.
Yeah,
and I just like absolutely fell in love. With his acting.
Yeah, he's an amazing actor because he does so many different kinds of roles. He doesn't do the same role like some actors kind of do. For example, Charming. I love this man. Don't get me wrong. I love him. And I love Josh Dallas. But the character he's now playing in a show called Manifest is
a lot like Charming.
It's the exact same character of Charming. Mom and I still call him Charming because we say this is Charming if he was in a modern day show about a mystery about an airplane. You know what I mean? But then again, maybe he's also a stage actor, so I'm sure he's capable of it. But good for him for getting a hit series after Once Upon a Time, because Josh Dallas is worth it. But Robert Carlisle, I think he doesn't play the same role twice ever.
No,
and he's big enough that he can afford to do that as well. That he can do his choices. I had seen Robert Carlisle in The Full Monty. That was how I knew him, which is so hilarious and so raw and gritty. I'd also seen him in 24. He was in one of the 24 ones, which if you haven't seen it, girl, and if you like Robert Carlisle, watch it, because you can each of the seasons of 24 are like a movie in of themselves.
Yeah, and this one was just a separate movie, I think, too, wasn't it?
Yes,
because the one where they're in Africa and he's actually a good guy.
Yes, what happened was it was supposed to be a full season, but the writer's strike happened, so they kind of just molded it into a TV movie. And he was great. Did you see it?
Not yet, because
girl,
I've been trying to find it on our Search Ohio through the library, and it's been down, but I think it comes back up this week. I actually did find out some Robert Carlisle movies. We're getting off track talking about Robert Carlisle, but I said I found out some of them were on Amazon Prime, so I'm going to have to watch some of them. I watched Flood. That was pretty good, watching him and be like in the middle of London flooding. It was actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, he does great things. I want to see the Prime Minister one that he's in.
I do too.
Come to America. I may have a way of watching it from some friends in Britain, but I feel like I just always feel guilty every time I do that.
I do too. A bunch of people said, "Oh, well, you can go here and watch it." I'm like, no, I want to watch it.
I want to watch it for guilt-free. Yeah. So let's see how it went. Oh, wow, what a surprise! Desperate Soul, right? It wasn't even
It wasn't, no.
Yeah, and this also tells you a little bit about the season. As good as the first half was, the second part of it got better. Each one got better. So Desperate Souls just knocks Price of Gold and Heart of Lonely Hunter out of the park. And True North was okay, but Desperate Souls was one of those where you kind of really start to see that there's something behind Rumpelstiltskin. Because I don't think before this episode we had any reason to think he was anything other than just a terrible person.
Yeah, because he creeped me out until this point. And even at the end of that episode, when he asked Bae if he felt safe, and I'm like, you wondered what happened to Bae because we hadn't seen the return yet.
That is true.
It scared me.
Yeah, I remember thinking that he ran away for some reason I felt that, like when he's like dad and all that, I think, oh, he ran away. I didn't think about the worst that you were saying that.
I don't think Rumple would have hurt him, but you don't know. The Dark One is almost like a possession.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you wouldn't know. And later in the later episodes, we do see some more details of what it was like to be the son of the Dark One, and it made sense when they did do it, because I thought that maybe he would be vulnerable, but rather people were so scared of Rumpelstiltskin they didn't touch a hair on his head. Here is Rumple again with a great scene with Emma.
That was that scene too. Don't break my bell or something in the shop, and then you find out about Bell later, and I'm like, every time I watch that scene now, I'm like, the way he says Bell.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Emma was so good. She was so good.
I know. She was amazing in that first season.
Yeah. And she was in every single episode. That's another thing.
There's your Charm Attack.
Charm Attack! Charm Attack!
Wasn't he so cute in the newsboy hat?
Yes! Oh my gosh! Charm Attack. This started a plot that I didn't like. This was the first plot of Once Upon a Time I did not like. Stupid triangle and Snow and Charming cheating on Catherine. I know that, technically they were still married, but in that world they thought that they weren't married and that he was married to Catherine. So I really didn't like that soap opera part of it.
No, it was kind of predictable because you saw exactly where it was going.
Exactly. And I think that I got some satisfaction, though, because I think they resolved it very, very well. Ultimately, with Snow breaking it off before, and Catherine coming to terms with it, and him and Catherine saying, we already drifted apart. And what we don't know, because they cut the scene, is that Catherine on the show had met, what's his name?
Frederick,
yeah. And what is it, Jim? Yeah, Jim. Yeah. And it's so funny because everyone calls him Jim, and that is actually just lore from the fans. We never knew what his name was, but it got around that Jim was his name, Jim. And then someone said, well, what's his last name? It's like, it must be teacher. But Jim, the actress told Diane in an interview, and it might be still on Diane's website, that they filmed the scene. So right after Charming and her came to terms with, hey, we've drifted apart, we're going to be set free and all that, that Frederick or Jim was going to come in right after Charming, or Charming was going to, it passes him, and he's got flowers for Catherine. So you feel like they're already moving on. And as the curse starts to gradually break, people just keep hooking up, and it just kept going back to the way they should be. And that caused Regina to panic because it was a sign that the curse was breaking.
And I think that's what made the first season so good, was because you realized it wasn't just Snow and Charming that were separated. It was everybody.
Yeah.
And nobody was with their person that they were supposed to be with.
Yeah. And not just that, but all their other connections.
Mm-hmm.
Also things like father, son, mother, father, daughter. We're probably not going to go into it today because it's too good an episode, and I want to really do it justice. But the episode Hat Trick, where Regina tortured
Jefferson.
Jefferson. I always call him the Winter Soldier. It's like the Winter Soldier from Marvel, because he played that Winter Soldier in the MCU movies. Yeah, Jefferson tortured him by letting him have his memories and taking away the daughters, and where the daughter thinks other people are her parents. And that's just messed up. Hello, did I lose you?
No, I was trying to see if we had any comments. No, okay. Exactly. Yeah. And that what happened, it's in the next round, I think, what happened to Frederick episode, that was actually even good. So even the episodes that the backstory was just so rich.
Yeah.
Now here we are to the
Yeah, to the ultimate one, Skin
Yes.
Deep. Yeah, so I'm gonna wait before we go there, because let's talk. Oh, what happened to Frederick? That was actually after Skin Deep, wasn't it?
Yeah,
But
that was in the Skin Deep round, I think.
yeah, that was episode 14, wasn't it?
Yes.
No, episode 13. What happened to
Yeah,
Frederick?
Skin
Was the
Deep
episode after?
was 12. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we had, what other episodes did we have in this round? Was this the, let's see, we had Desperate Souls.
Desperate
We had,
Souls, Curtis the Lonely Hunter, True North, Price of Gold.
yeah, we had the two tied, and then
Mhm.
we had Desperate Souls and True North. So,
Yeah,
yeah, we only had 2 new episodes in this one. And then
yeah,
Desperate Souls blew them all out of the water until Skin Deep came along.
yeah. I mean, because Skin Deep, it's the only thing that unanimously our staff, all the fans, everyone agreed on is you just have to admit that this is the best episode of Once Upon a Time. You have to. I mean, look at that. When Once Upon a Time finally came up, when Skin Deep came up, Skin Deep, someone voted for Desperate Souls and 0 for 715 and Fruit of the Poisonous Tree.
And
Because
those are both good episodes.
yeah, those were good episodes, but it just shows you how
Yes.
Skin Deep just knocked it out of the park.
And also, I have a lot of Rumbell people on, but I
Yeah,
try to tag OUT so that I don't just get a sampling of Rumbell people. Because I want to, and then, so I may, after we get done with all 7 seasons, I don't know how long that'll take me. I may even do like a March Madness kind of bracket and start with the lower rated episodes and see, how far they can go. I don't
interesting.
know. That would be interesting. It might
Yeah,
be March by the time we get to that.
yeah, I might. Yeah, and if we left out Skin Deep or Desperate Souls or even things like The Price of Gold,
Yeah, because we could do like a way to turn it. Because I am keeping track of how many votes each episode gets.
Mhm.
Because I figure out the percentage and how many votes it got. So I did do that for season 1, and I think that's when I used the edits that Sam had done.
Yes. Okay.
I asked permission to use them from all of you because I didn't want to use something like that was somebody else's work without crediting them.
Oh, sure. Well, absolutely. And Lynn and Dow, I think that if you don't know, if you can't find them, you can always just at Once Upon a Fan or even back to our YouTube, because technically that would be going back to anything that would connect with us. But yeah, it was Sam. Sam did so much good work. There was so much going on behind the scenes of Once Upon a Fan, I think, that people maybe didn't always see that, but coming up with all those graphics and all these contests and all these polls, and that's what's leading me into this poll, is no matter what we did, we almost wanted it to be different. Skin Deep always came on top. Always. We couldn't stop it. And we couldn't even stop it among ourselves, among the staff, because everyone, even the guys that don't, even 1 or 2 of them are like, yes, stupid Rumbell, whatever, and all that. But they had to come back and objectively say, this was a great episode. And not just for Rumbell. It was a great episode for everyone. And Gareth, the original owner of Once Upon a Fan and my colleague, he said it best. He said Skin Deep was when Once Upon a Time went from being a good show to a great show. Period.
I can believe that because at first when I saw, wait a minute, this is Belle, and I thought they're doing Beauty and the Beast with Rumple.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I said, Robert Carlisle got me at Desperate Souls, where I kind of thought, well, there's more to this character. But then once I figured out he's the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and that's my all-time favorite Disney movie, not the remake. The remake can't compare with the cartoon. I'm sorry. The Broadway play. I went with the Broadway play. It can't compare to either of those. I mean, Emma Watson was great in Harry Potter, but she was not Belle to me.
She was miscast as Belle, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, but I felt the same way. And I remember literally telling my sister, because I wasn't able to watch it exactly live. It was like quarter after. I was like, I'm going to go home to watch once. Prepare for me to be traumatized, because she knew how much I loved Once Upon a Time, and the idea that they were really going to make the Beast Rumpelstiltskin, I just thought I would just be traumatized for life. And boy, was I wrong. When I
Me
got done
too.
when I got done watching it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is the best episode
Well, and you saw
ever."
Regina had her locked up and she wasn't dead,
Mhm.
you
And
know.
yeah, and it wasn't just the romance between Belle and Rumpel, but there were amazing moments with the Charming and Snow, the whole 2 Valentine's Day cards. There was a
And
great moment
Ruby
with
was in it.
Ruby and Cinderella and
Yeah.
Thomas. Their story got resolved. The meaning of Valentine's Day, all of that. And of course, Emma was seeing Gold in a way she had never seen him before. She's like, "Why is this dude freaking out over a stupid cup?" Wait, she didn't know it was a
She
cup.
didn't know about the cup.
No, she
That's
just
what
knew it was
Regina
something.
wanted. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that
she just
scene
knew
with
it was something.
Regina.
Yeah, she knew it was something because he's like, "You haven't found anything. I'm still looking." And she's like, "What could it be? What's so important?" And it was also the first time that we saw Rumpel starting to lose it just as Gold. I think we saw him starting to become vulnerable as Gold before we saw it in the backstory, because we just saw him almost becoming unhinged over something that was stolen. And slowly we start to see why. It's because what had happened with Belle.
And he thinks she's dead. And then that reunion scene in the where she goes to him and you see him after you just get mad at him because it was like that with Rumpel. Because it was like he would do something and then it's like and then he does something so like he took the potion from Emma, you know, and then it's like Belle walks in the shop and it's like, oh my.
Yeah,
You
and see,
see
that was back
her.
when they paid things off and didn't make you wait 7 years to see something good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only had to wait like 2 months. But yeah, absolutely. But the fact is that they were able to believably pull off that. Okay, let's be honest. Robert Carlisle is what, 45, and while the
Definitely.
actress playing Belle was
Maybe 30
she
something.
was 30 something, it still really looked like an old dude with a young chick. It objectively speaking, but I never once got that creepo feeling about it
No.
at all.
No, and
And
you actually found out though um that she did become his vulnerability because every bad thing that he actually did in those seasons we won't talk about, he was always trying to protect Belle.
yeah, that was the thing. Well, and that's partly why I also had problem with what they do later, is because it was really
Yeah.
established in the first and second season and the third season that there was one person Rumpel would never lie to. There was one
No.
he would never lie to her, and he would never hurt her. And it also got around town, I remember in Storybrooke, that, oh gosh, don't mess with Belle because Rumpel will kill you.
And all the people that kidnapped her, I'm like, you really are stupid.
Exactly. Exactly. So but yeah, this kiss, it took me a bit. It took me a bit, but after I watched it, and I watched it over and over and over again, I'm like, this is just a masterpiece of television, just
Mm-hmm.
the teleplay.
And
And
just
then
listening to his commentary.
oh gosh, yes. And then you have that almost climax of the episode where he's beating the living daylights out of Belle's father. And Carlisle actually improvised that. I don't know. Do you know that?
I,
Weaver's Grace said he said that the line was, it's like he said it wasn't my fault, and he was like, my fault. It wasn't my fault. You know, Rumpelstiltskin said that, and I guess his line was originally like it was your fault or something. But
yeah, I have
he
to go back
changed.
and watch that.
Yeah, he changed one of the lines where he one of the my faults. He said he changed it to like he was talking to himself almost.
And that's kind of what, that was that one great scene. I know we got to cut this off soon. That one
Mm-hmm.
great scene in season 6 where Rumpel is arguing with the Dark One Rumpel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, it's basically he's like somebody that's possessed by a dark spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So, That's actually one of my little fan fictions I did do, where he's being tormented by the Dark One because he's fallen in love with Belle after he catches her at the window.
Yes.
So, and that scene with Regina,
Mm.
and with
When he
him
just
and
goes,
Regina,
tell me your name, and he just goes,
Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin. So we finally find out, and their very deadly relationship, where Regina, what she hurt Belle so badly to get at Rumpel, and when he's beating the living daylights out of, to go back to about her father, he thought, because of what Regina had told him, that the father had locked her up and tortured her and driven her to suicide. And he was doing, I think, what anyone would do if they had a moment alone. You hear that sometimes, where people are like, just give me 5 minutes alone with this person so I can just beat them up and just give them what they deserve. And that's exactly what he was doing. And Emma, again, was very disturbed when she came upon it. It's like, what is making him lose it like this?
And then she asked something about, you said her, and he wouldn't. You said something about her, and he wouldn't.
He wouldn't tell her anything. Yeah.
No.
Because he never talked about it. And just how much he really, really, truly loved her, and how much she loved him. I think part of the Skin Deep episode, and part of the way they did Beauty and the Beast, and was true to the Beauty and the Beast story, was that Belle was no damsel in distress with this. She chose to go with the Beast. It was her choice. And even when he dumped her and told her to go, she stood tall with her head held high and basically told him off. She was the one person that could do that, could get away with that, because she was that strong and true. And she was never afraid of the Beast.
And that's why what happened later was so
absurd,
disheartening.
Yeah. Well, it's like they just didn't bother being consistent at all.
It's like the Belle that in The Outsider, which is the current episode that has won.
Oh gosh,
it's like the Belle in The Outsider told Regina she'd never give up fighting for him.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, okay, you just gave up fighting for him.
Yeah.
And then the whole weirdness with, she became friends with Selena and Hook, and I'm like, these people abused you, and even Regina.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I might have tolerated some of it, maybe if she'd have said, screw you all.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hang out and have cheesecake with Ruby, because that if they hadn't made her suck up to all of them, because that would be the natural thing for her to do. And while I'm at it, I'm sick of Snow and all of them. I used to imagine that there was a cul-de-sac where they all lived, all the characters that were off screen, staying as far away as they could from Snow White.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, because they were like, those people crazy. Every time you go around
them, happiness or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're happy here. You go over there around these people, you're going to find yourself cursed. You're going to find yourself killed. You're going to find a monster. They're going to transport you back somewhere. Just stay here where it's safe. Yeah. And they're like, screw that. You see, and I think that if they wanted to do some of that route with Belle, that's what Belle should have done. I really, really wish that they had done a bit of a plot where, if they had to break them up for a while, had Belle go out and be independent on her own.
Yeah, she never got to have, she was babysitting everybody's kids. It was like they went to her whenever they needed a book from the library to break some spell. It's like, yeah. It's exactly. Like, why do you hang around these people? There was that one episode where she finally said, well, Rumpel, when, what's her name? Emma was the Dark One or whatever. And she's like, well, Rumpel understands. And then Hook's like, well, we've given him enough chances.
And I'm like, hey, Mr. Murderer.
Yeah, look what he did to Archie. That never got addressed.
Yeah. Hey, mister, I'm wearing my trophies right now from the people I killed on my own finger.
Yeah. Oh, crocodiles have enough chances, love. I'm like, yeah, how many have you gotten?
Exactly.
You get out of Hades free card.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started. We're
Oh yeah,
keeping this
we could
positive.
talk forever about that. Yeah, but absolutely. But this was a masterpiece, and juxtaposed. We always use that line all the time. Juxtaposed with this, while he loses his crap after the kiss, when he really thinks that she was tricking him all along, and the emotion that you hear, and his voice cracks even, and then she's like, why don't you believe me? He says, because nobody can ever love me, and just loses it, and then starts with uh, smashing up furniture and all that. We don't see that raw passion. We never saw anything like that from him before.
And that was
And,
the whole thing about being unloved, because Robert Carlisle even touches on that in
Mhm.
the commentary, was how many letters that he had received about people, because that's the whole thing. We're both women of faith, and it's like nobody is unlovable, nobody is unredeemable until
Mhm.
their last breath. And maybe
Yeah.
that's what gravitated me to Rumpel. And like
Mhm.
I said, just liking Once Upon a Time, and especially just looking forward to each week to a new episode, and especially seeing Robert Carlisle once, it
Mhm.
was like it was like it really helped. It was like that instrument in the depression.
Yeah.
And there's some other things I'll get into later on about his character that
Yeah.
um,
You brought up a good point. While Once Upon a Time was good, it really beat the Sunday blues, because you know how you get those like, oh man, I got to get up and go to work, but it
oh,
actually,
definitely.
yeah, it really helped me with that. Where Sunday night you were looking forward to it, it's so exciting, everyone was all talking about it, and then the episode would happen, and we would stay up. The Once Upon a Fan staff, we would just stay up talking about it all night. Just we were so excited. And then Monday morning came around, and it was just kind of easier to go to work. You know what I mean? You're just like,
And
wow, it's so exciting. And then you're looking forward to the next one. And it was the Sunday blues or Monday blues, whatever it is, remedy for me and for others. And it was fun.
yeah. And I got a story when we get to the third season about a friendship I've got, because I didn't find Once Upon a Fan until the third season, because one of my youth group kids told me I needed to go on there.
Hmm.
So I wish I would have found you guys sooner. Um, so anyway, I had posted something about Once Upon a Time or Rumple, and somebody had become friends with me through church. Was like, we love that show. So I would talk to her, and it's like, we're best friends. We were born the same year. It's like we live
Hmm.
like 10 minutes away from each other. And it's like, I have a best friend and her family. I've been to weddings for 3 of her kids because of Rumple and Once Upon a Time.
Hmm.
And I also have a 3-legged cat because of Rumple.
Yeah, and same here. Of course, we all from Once Upon a Fan became very good friends and good friends in real life. Maurice, my best friend, Gareth. Oh, I went over to hang out with him in where he lives in England, and we're all still friends. We all stay in touch. We made lifelong friends. Absolutely.
And that's how I got to be friends with you and
Yes,
Maury
yes,
and
Maury.
everybody. And I don't know, my life would be kind of depressing without you all.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Because, yeah, we give each other friendship and,
yeah.
you know.
And as far as I know, I mean, there were some hookups, none that I personally know, but some people would meet at conventions and things. So people also found their spouses
Yeah.
through all this. Um, Lots of fun. So I always like to end with always wanting a little bit more. I want to thank everyone that came into the
Thank
chat.
you.
Tommy, the mod with the most. Latino Slant, thank you. Let me see. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. Oh,
Tommy
Ara, always
and
good to see your
Latino. Yeah,
mama.
thank you everybody for joining
Yeah,
us.
coming, and anyone that listens, if you wouldn't mind liking and
Mama
subscribing.
Tool and Ara.
Yep, and sharing
So
if you wouldn't mind. And in the chat, why don't you tell us in the comments on the video what is your favorite episode of Once Upon a Time and why? Oh, there's Luffy. Hello, Luffy. I'm waving at you. Excellent to see you all. So have a good evening, everyone. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you, everybody. And
Excellent.
until we meet again.
Until we meet again, have a good evening and be certain to never, ever buy 2 Valentine's Day cards.